Hi there, this is the 5 mark question on your Northern Ireland paper. So it's on paper 1, it's the third question in your Northern Ireland section. So it's question 9 altogether, including your Nazi Germany. This one here is your usefulness one. It's actually based on what we call the usefulness or the utility of a source. Okay, and I have to say this is one you're probably going to keep referring back to because some students tend to struggle in this. I have to say though, if you remember the acronym in this here, there's an acronym we're going to give you that'll definitely help you in maintaining the top marks in this every time you do it. Okay, so let's have a wee look at it and see what it involves. This is what you'll get here. Okay, so it's a source. It is going to ask you to work out how useful this source is for an historian studying reactions or anything else to an event. And you're going to have to use your contextual knowledge and the source. It's a key part of this here. Alright, so it's asking you to assess the usefulness of a source. It's asking you to use a source and contextual knowledge to reach a judgment based on this here, how useful this is in a particular event or issue. Yeah, let's say you have to include a source limitation as well if you can in your answer. And what does it leave out? Why might it be not so useful? You have to make a judgment, and you have to really focus on that event, that question, and the event as well mentioned in the question. Don't go outside that remit. For this here, 5 to 7 minutes if you can, that'd be really good, and you'll have your space down here again to write. Okay, so this here is the mark scheme. Okay, you can see if you read through these here, always look at the top level here. This is level 3, 4 and 5. What's it looking for you to do? Well, it's looking for you to use the content of the source and your contextual knowledge to make a reasoned judgment as to the usefulness or utility of the source. If you can do that there using the CADOL, which I'll explain in a second, you will be fine and you'll get your full marks. Okay? Alright, so this here is all based on usefulness, utility of a source. So how can a source be useful? It can be useful for 2 different reasons. Firstly, it's useful for the facts that it provides us. Okay, so the facts it provides us for an historical event, and it's useful for the opinions it actually gives us as well too. So what about facts? Well, you have to study the source carefully. What facts is a source giving us? Is it giving us the dates? Is it giving us motivations? Why something happened? Why people wanted something to happen? Is it giving us statistics, events, or results of something? And then you have to try to work out how do these facts in the source fit into what we already know. Is the source useful because the facts it contains support what you already know, or are the facts in the source useful because they add to your understanding by telling you something you didn't previously know, or perhaps it might contradict what you already know as well. So from your knowledge that you've garnered from your study of history, you should know, does this back up what I already know, or is it perhaps going against what I know? If it does, that might be a limitation there. Alright? Okay, so for example, a microposter might be useful for telling us the things a civil rights protester felt needed to change in Northern Ireland. What about opinions then? Well, this is one of the most common mistakes that a history student might make. They might come along and think, well, yes, that's written by somebody in the IRA or written by a unionist, so it's definitely not useful. That couldn't be further from the truth. If it's from one-sided point of view, it may be biased, but it's giving us the viewpoint of that group or that person. Okay, that does not mean it's not useful. A biased source is still useful because it gives perspective, the viewpoint of the writer or a group of people. Okay, so really, really useful for an historian. For example, a unionist politician criticising the civil rights movement might be one-sided, but the source is still useful for telling us about the concerns of unionists who believed, some of them anyway, believed that NICRA was a front for the IRA. So that gives us an insight into some unionist point of view. So it's definitely useful. So really bear that in mind. It's very easy to fall into the trap of saying, oh, that's biased or that's not useful because it's from one source. That's not the truth. Okay, in your answer you should identify the facts the source gives and opinions the source gives. Try to make direct quotes using quotation marks. Bear in mind you shouldn't have big long chunks of source quotes, and try to keep them small and snappy. In addition, you should use your own knowledge to explain why these facts and opinions are useful. How do the facts and opinions fit in with your own knowledge? Alright, this here is key. I would definitely print this out and put this up somewhere. To do a 5 marker, you have to have this CADOL, and I would definitely write this down on your exam paper when you get under the 5 marker. CADOL. Okay, if you remember this, you cannot go wrong. You definitely cannot go wrong. So what does CADOL mean? Well, content is key. I've put it up here at number 1 because it's key. You have to say what you see. You have to be able to say, be able to just basically, if you can read the source, you should be able to figure out what is useful in that source and be able to show how useful that is. Okay, using the content. The author, is the author useful? Is it, if it's a civil rights leader, that is going to be useful? Is it, if it's Ian Paisley, that's going to be useful? Okay, because it's given the viewpoints from their groups. The date, is the date useful? When was the source published or written? Okay, is it around about the same time, the same space of time that the event that's in the question is from? If it is, that's going to be definitely useful. All knowledge is key. You have to back this up. It's a key part of the question. What is in the source that supports what you already know? Okay. Then finally, a limitation. Is there something that's in the source that contradicts what you know? That would be a limitation. Why else would the source not be particularly useful? Okay, and remember, all sources are useful to a certain extent. Never forget that all sources are useful. It might be from a very one-sided point of view, they're still useful. Okay, if you remember that, you'll be fine. Alright, so this is our example here, okay, and just to let you see, I'll go over, here we go. So it is a public statement made by Jack Lynch. Jack Lynch was Taoiseach of the Irish Republic, as you know, and it was made on the 20th of April 1969, and it was following the resignation of Prime Minister Terence O'Neill. Okay, that gives you the context, gives you the author there, it gives you the date. Don't forget that, by the way, at the very top here is often a lot of material, okay, so it's a public statement, Jack Lynch is the author, 20th of April 1969 is the date, and this is what the event is, okay, that's before we even got into the source. Captain Terence O'Neill was, I believe, sincere in his efforts to improve conditions in the north of Ireland. He tried to promote understanding among all sections of the community. He worked to encourage cooperation and good relations between North and South, and he worked to improve the economy of the North. My hope is that O'Neill's reforms will allow Unionists and Nationalists in the North to have civil rights and freedom from discrimination. And your question is, how useful is that source for an historian studying reactions to the Prime Minister Terence O'Neill's policies and actions in the 1960s? Okay, you have to explain the answer using source C and your contextual knowledge. Well, this is what I would have here. The source, first of all, put CADOL down somewhere. I usually put it up right above here, okay, CADOL, big letters, right above your answer. The source is useful due to the date. That's your D out of the CADOL. It is written in April 1969. To be exact, it's the 20th of April 1969. Why is that useful? Well, it's because it follows the resignation of Prime Minister Terence O'Neill. It's definitely highly useful. This makes it a primary source and allows us to see the viewpoint from the time. The mode is basically what it is, and this is a public statement. Okay, that is useful because it's from a public statement at the time and is therefore the open view of the Irish government. As such, it offers an insight into O'Neill and his actions from the viewpoint of the Republic of Ireland. The author, is the author useful? Well, it's Jack Lynch, it's a Taoiseach of the Irish Republic, it's definitely useful. The author is well informed because as Taoiseach of the Irish Republic in December 1967 he had met O'Neill. From my knowledge, I know that this meeting resulted in improved cooperation between North and South. So I'm adding my knowledge there. This source from April 1969 is at the end of the premiership of Terence O'Neill and is useful because it identifies a very positive summary of O'Neill's policies and actions. It refers to the understanding amongst all sections of the community that's using the source, which O'Neill had been so keen to promote during his time as Prime Minister of Northern Ireland. However, okay, that word there is really important for any history question. However, the source does have limitations. First of all, it's a public statement made shortly after Terence O'Neill had resigned. The statement does not have the benefit of hindsight and only represents one viewpoint, which reduces its usefulness. I am aware, for example, that O'Neill did bring many economic benefits, but there were also major economic weaknesses. That is your 5 marks. Okay, so your 5 marks are in there. Okay, have you used the content? Yes, you have. Have you used the author? Yes, you have. Have you used the date? Yes, you have. Have you used your own knowledge? Yes, you have. Have you used limitations? Yes, you have. Bingo. full marks. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Try to use that CADOL in every 5 marker and you cannot go wrong. Thank you.